condo in Mexico can look affordable. Until you discover that the building needs major repairs, the reserve fund is weak, rentals are restricted, or owners are about to receive a special assessment. Because when you buy a condo, you are not only buying the unit. You are also accepting the building's finances, rules, shared obligations, and future decisions. Those can affect your monthly budget, how you use the property, and how easily you can sell it later. So before you commit, there are 7 HOA questions you need answered. American buyers usually call it an HOA. In Mexico, the documents may use terms such as condominium regime, condominium regulations, owner's assembly, or administration. The exact structure can vary by state and development, so do not assume it works exactly like an HOA in the United States. Review the actual documents governing the specific property. The buyer question remains the same. What financial obligations, rules, and shared responsibilities become yours when you buy this unit? Start with the current maintenance fee, but do not stop at the number. Ask what it actually pays for. Does it cover security, elevators, common area electricity, landscaping, pool maintenance, administration, building insurance, water, or other services? Then ask what it does not cover. A low monthly fee may look attractive. But if the fee is too low to operate and maintain the property properly, the building may be postponing expenses rather than saving owners money. The important question is not, is the fee low? It is the fee realistic for this building? Next, verify whether the specific unit has unpaid maintenance fees, penalties, special assessments, or other condominium obligations. Do not rely only on the seller saying that everything is current. Ask for written confirmation and have the professionals reviewing the transaction determine what must be resolved before closing. The buyer needs to know whether the unit's condominium account is current, not discover an unpaid balance or unresolved dispute after taking possession. Now look beyond the monthly payment. Ask whether the condominium has a reserve fund, what the current balance is, what the fund is intended to cover, and how owners have been contributing to it. A reserve may be needed for roofs, elevators, exterior surfaces, water systems, structural components, or other shared infrastructure. A building can appear well maintained today and still be financially unprepared for tomorrow. What the buyer still needs to ask is, if an expensive common area repair becomes necessary, where will the money come from? A reserve fund is not automatically adequate simply because one exists. Ask for recent owners' assembly minutes, the current budget, and information about planned capital projects. Look for discussions involving major repairs, contractor proposals, rising insurance costs, recurring maintenance problems, or work that has been postponed. You need to understand whether an additional owner payment has already been approved, is actively being discussed, or may reasonably be expected. Do not assume the current monthly fee represents your full financial exposure. A special assessment can materially change the ownership budget shortly after you buy. At minimum, ask to review the current budget, recent assembly minutes, the reserve balance, the condominium rules, and written confirmation that the unit is current on its obligations. HOA costs are only part of the ownership budget. I cover the broader cost of owning property in Mexico in a separate video, linked below. But cost is not the only issue. The building's rules also need to fit your actual plan. Review how the condominium rules affect your intended use. Check the rules for short-term and long-term rentals, pets, guests, renovations, parking, noise, commercial activity, and access to common areas. Do not buy first and investigate the restrictions later. If rental income is part of your strategy, verify that the governing documents, applicable local rules, and actual building practices are compatible with that plan. If you expect to remodel, determine what approvals and restrictions apply. The question is not only, do I like this condo? It is, can I use this condo the way I intend to? You also need clarity about the boundary between private unit responsibility and common property responsibility. Ask about responsibility for windows, exterior doors, terraces, water intrusion, air conditioning equipment, pipes, facades, and shared systems. Do not assume every problem outside the interior walls belongs to the condominium. And do not assume that everything connected to the unit belongs to the owner. The answer should come from the governing documents and the specific facts, not verbal reassurance alone. This becomes especially important if you will spend part of the year outside Mexico and may need to coordinate repairs remotely. Finally, evaluate the condominium from the perspective of a future buyer. High fees are not automatically bad if they support a well-managed property. Low fees are not automatically good if they result in deferred maintenance and repeated assessments. But excessive costs, unresolved disputes, weak records, restrictive rules, unpaid balances, or visible deterioration can make a unit harder to sell. Your future buyer may ask the same questions you should be asking now. So examine the condominium not only as today's purchaser, but as tomorrow's seller. A good unit inside a poorly managed building can still become a weak ownership decision. Before buying a condo in Mexico, do not evaluate only the interior, the view, the amenities, and the purchase price. Evaluate the building's finances, rules, management, and shared obligations. Verify what the monthly fee covers, whether the unit owes money, whether the reserve is adequate, whether additional assessments may be coming, whether the rules fit your plan, who is responsible for repairs, and how the building may affect future resale. The stronger condo decision is not necessarily the building with the lowest fee. It is the building whose finances, rules, management, and shared obligations you understand before you commit. Once you understand the HOA, the next step is verifying the property documents before you sign. Watch this next. Before you sign for property in Mexico, check this first. That is where the buyer review continues before you commit.